how's it going? Welcome to my channel, Jessica in Progress. My name is Jessica and I have a problem. You see here, I am sitting in front of my book box shelf and when I said that I was going to start doing book boxes again, I said I have to read it, and if I don't read it, I get rid of the book. So I am very behind in that. For Owlcrate YA, I am 4 books behind, not counting the book box that is currently sitting on my bookshelf waiting to be unboxed. For Owlcrate Adult, I am 2 behind. Okay. For Lumacrate, I am 2 behind, plus the one that's currently waiting for me. And then for Book of the Month, which I also started doing, I am very behind on those too. So I am going to use this weekend as like a little book vlog thing to see how many I can read this weekend, so long as this weekend doesn't have anything happening, because it might. And if not, extend into the week to just catch up. And I will only be reading these books. I thought about what I was going to start with for a while, and I think I'm just going to catch up with what I'm most behind in, which is the regular Owlcrate, and start with this dark... Give me the book. This Dark Descent by Kalyn Josephson. This is supposed to be like a Scorpio Races inspired dark book. Hi, Stin. Yes, hi. The Russell family is famous for Adrienne as breeders of the enchanted horses, but their prestige is no match to their rising dates. To save her family's ranch, Miracle Russell is left with the only option: enter the treacherous cross-country horse race known as much for its high bounty count as it is for its enticing prize money. To have any chance of success, Marika will have to recruit Ariel Kadar, the talented but unlicensed enchanter who creates golems in place of enchanted animals, and Damien, the dashing young lord in midst of a fierce succession battle. Both have mysterious reasons for their own to help Makira, as well as their own blood feuds to avenge. Steeped with Jewish folklore, this Dark Descent is a spellbounding new fantasy full of intrigue, romance, and pulse-pounding action. In a world as dangerous as this, will hidden agendas and conflicting desires bitter Makira's, Aries, and Damien's chances of winning, or will another writer's dagger? So that is what we will be reading first. I'll check with you when we're about halfway through. So yeah, hopefully that'll be later tonight. Anyway, thank you, Stin, for helping with the intro. Tell him we'll be right back. Huh? We'll be right back. We gotta go get dinner. We gotta go get food. Alright, so we're about halfway through this Dark Descent by Kalyn Josephson now, and it's pretty good. I am enjoying it. It's a very easy read. The action is quite fast-paced. It's very quick. Like, the first 50 pages I read really quickly and was like, oh, we're already here, which is nice. One critique that I do have it at this point is that the romance feels a little forced. Like, some people might not feel it too much that way, because in the first part I was like, oh, these are the pairings, these are gonna who end up together, and there's no nuance about it. And then in the second part, they're just like, oh, look at them looking at you like that, oh, I bet you like that person. But like, we haven't actually seen the two couples interact by themselves. At most, they've been like, I am doing the thing, and the other person is here as well. So like, Ari, our enchanter, is like doing the horse thing, and she's like, and Damien helped me with the clay, but they don't like have any actual conversations. And it's just like, and Damien is allowing me to use his library now, which is great. And then for I pronounce her head wrong, and I pronounce her name wrong in my head because dyslexia. So it's Mikira, but I always call her Mirika because it just sounds... Anyway, Kira and Reed are like supposed to be the other couple, and they're always at the stables together, but we don't see them like actually interacting with each other until like the very end of part 2 maybe. And we don't get to like really develop any of the boys' personalities, because it's just like, I'm at the stables and Reed is coaching me on that, and that's literally our entire interaction, which is kind of like, if you're really not gonna do much at that point, then like focus on the race and all of that and being a horse girl instead of like trying to force the romance in. I think it's gonna get a little bit more in depth as we go on, because we've already had one race and the race just kind of lasted a chapter. And there's a bunch of other like smaller things going on now. So I think it's less going to be like, here's the race and all of that, and more of like the politics behind, which is something that I like. I like the politics behind things, so long as they're not like, and then we sat and heard the King's speech, and then you get like 4 pages of the King's speech. There is some other instances kind of like that, where it's just like, hey, here's exposition dump, and also our characters can't hold their tongue back and get into a fight and do the exact opposite of what they said they were going to do earlier. So I can see the threads of where we're going on with this book, and I'm interested to see like if I'm correct in those assumptions. But it seems like it's not that deep of a book, but it is a very fun book. So I'm going to go ahead and get this finished. It is the end of Sunday. I think I can probably finish this today, and then we'll read hopefully at least 2 other books the rest of the week. But yeah, so we're gonna get back to finishing this Dark Descent. Okay, so it is now Monday at lunchtime, and I have finished this Dark Descent. It is fine. Like, it's not bad, but it's also not that great. I gave it a very generous 3. Part of it was that for everything that we didn't like, it felt like a movie in the bad way. You know how like when your book gets adapted into a movie and you're just like, we're missing all of the important like character building moments. They're just doing a montage. That's what this book feels like, is like, it's just, there's so many things going on and it's trying to like tell you all of the things, but because there's so many things, we can't actually get into the nitty gritty of literally anything. So it's just, oh, here is this romance, here's this romance, here is war politics, here is a chapter about horse racing in the action scene, here is a little bit of our character being with her sisters and all of that. I was looking at a couple reviews of this, and apparently Mikira is supposed to be asexual or ace arrow in this, which I can read into it, and it does seem like it's possible and logical, but it doesn't like super read that way. In fact, for me, it felt more queer baiting when Mikira's friend comes in and is like very flirtatious, and we almost instantly drop Reed to be with her friend. So I was just like, oh, maybe we are gonna get like some queer representation in this, because I think as far as queer rep goes in this book, there is a mention, like a single sentence of like this boy or this guy and his husband, and that's it. Otherwise, it read very like these two are pairing up. Also, there's this horse game going on. Also, there's this war going on. Also, there's this power struggle for the main houses going on. And then there's also like one of the things in here doesn't come into play like I thought it would, because in the like beginning like pages, it has like the family line of the kingdom, and it has this like bastard prince right here, but he doesn't come into play in this book. If you can tell by the amount of a bunch of things going on that was kind of like not touched on entirely, this is the first in a series. Unfortunately, I feel like I will not be continuing this series. It just didn't really hold my interest, and I don't really care about the characters that are here, nor do I really care about their struggles, especially with how simplistic we handled everything in this book. I think it's fine. I think like as a YA book, I think it's fine. Like, I think if you were to read this in high school, you could absolutely love this. But if you were looking for something more character driven and like actually, because like this is mostly plot driven, I honestly went back and forth between caring about Ari's perspective, and I think if you wanted a Darkling and Alina or whatever her name is in Shadow and Bone romance, I think this would be good to like satiate that. But for me, I personally didn't I wanted to care about her story, but I just felt detached from it. And that's kind of how I felt about everything with this book, is detached. It was just, hey, I'm catching up with a friend over lunch and they're telling me about their friends' lives. That's what this felt like to me. But someone else might really like it. To me, it was fine. Okay. I had planned on making The Unmaking of June Farrow my first book of the year. I'm currently like 2 chapters into it, and then I got like life happening and haven't finished it. So I'm tempted to do this one. This follows a woman who, this follows June, who is just like, this follows June shortly after her grandma dies. Everyone in her family, it's like a curse. All the women in her family go crazy. Her mother disappeared shortly after she was born and she was left on her mom's doorstep. And then they also run a flower farm. And June, in the beginning of this, is starting to notice the mental issues that her family struggles with. So it's something along the lines of that. I'm not too sure what happens in here, but I am interested to read it. I like Adrienne Young. She wrote the Fable and Namesake series. She also wrote a couple other things, but I've only read Fable and Namesake from her. So I'm looking forward to this because I do like her writing style for the most part. And then she has like a really good writing class about like writing what you're passionate about. So I like the author a lot. So we will do this one and I will check in at about halfway. First off, look at my couch. Can you guess why it's this way? Is it because we washed a husky yesterday? Yes. So if you want a husky, know that while they are pretty, they're also very loud, very loud, very loud. And also, when you brush them, they just kind of, you know, fluff out. Anyway, Sten is also right here. He's right here. He's a good boy. So I am now halfway through The Unmaking of June Farrow, and we have gone through the red door. It's a fun book. I'm having so much fun with it. I did start, remember how I said this was going to be like the first book that I read in 2024 or whatever? I was like 50 pages already in, and I already remembered everything, so I just picked up where I left off. And now I'm like at page 177 or something. And I honestly don't know why I stopped reading it, because like the moment I picked it up, it started picking up. So I think the first 50 pages are a little slow, but once you get past that, it like picks up and you're just like, oh, this is the story, this is what we're doing. And it's one of those things where you're just like, as a writer and also as a reader, you have to like kind of guess or debate when you're writing. Do you want to start at the normal day and be like, this is what our normal days are? Or do you want to start in medias res, like in the middle of the motion of what's going on? Because while, yes, the book does start with Grandma dying and June being like, I've been experiencing the crazy symptoms for a year now, it also doesn't start like where the action is, which is figuring out what exactly the craziness in her family is and like how all of that goes. I don't super want to spoil what it is, but I feel like it's important to know when you go into it that this is a semi-time traveling tale, and I also think that that is going to have a factor in how I like the book, especially the ending of the book, because right now there's like this thing going on. And this is like more, I'm gonna like start spoiling this for you because I have to like think this out loud, okay? So there's this thing going on where she is like her main life was in 2023, right? And then we find out that she was actually born in 1950, she was born in the early 1900s, like 1940 something, I don't know, or whatever. It's super. When was she born? I can move mountain. I can make the room into my room. Just waiting on a miracle. A miracle. Yeah. 1912. She was born in like 1912. Hi. Yeah, she was born in like 1912. So there's this thing where like her whole family is like in two places at the same time because they can like, they see this door and they can go back and forth in the time period. Now, the thing that irks me is when she was getting the rules explained to her, she said that she could go through the door 3 times. And even in the book, the main character June was confused about it because she was like, but I've already gone through it twice. Technically, if she went through it as a baby without her like choice in doing, to be, you know, living her life in the 2020s. Or the 2000s and the whatever. But, okay. So, like, if she already crossed the door once when she was a baby, and then she crossed the door just now, right? That means she only has 1 crossing left if there's only 3 times that she can cross. Or is it like not worded properly and it's 3 switchbacks? Which even then you would be like, hold on. Because when June goes to the past in 1951, we find out that older June came back in like 1946 or something. So there's this weird thing going on. And also if she chooses, so it's, I think, currently it's implying that the 1950s time is probably like the one that she is going to end up in, right? Because June has been like, I am not going to pass on the crazy genes. I am going to be the last Farrow. This is going to end with me. I'm not having kids, blah, 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 blah. But for some reason, when she went back in 1946, she fell in love with the dude and like had a kid. So now she's like, what's going on here? And that to me kind of implies that she is gonna pick that as the final thing because she doesn't want to have like the guilt of being like a mother who left her child behind because she grew up as a child that was left behind by her mother. And I'm just like, I'm not going back. Like, if I had the choice to live in right now or in 1951, I would not go to 1951 as a woman. Like, the times back then were significantly different. And while in 1951 I could afford a house currently, you know, in 2023, I have rights and can vote and own a credit card in my own land. So, if she chooses to be in 1951, I'm gonna have issues. But otherwise, I'm enjoying it and I'm probably gonna finish it real soon. So, yeah. I'll get back to you when I'm done with that. I think I remember what I last said about the Unmaking of June Farrow. I finished it now. I finished it probably a week ago. We went on vacation and I was planning on finishing it and filming my synopsis of it before the vacation. And then I didn't. And so we're here now, back from vacation, which was fun for the most part. Anyway, the Unmaking of June Farrow, the thing that I said I didn't want to happen, happened. And I have like a lot of feelings about this. So we're going to be like all spoilery here because while the writing and the atmosphere and all of that was really good and really pretty, like I think Adrienne Young can write really well. The plot and the direction that it took, I just wasn't here for. Like the first 50 pages were a little slow and then like the next 100 were really good as you tried to figure things out and all of that. But then after that, it started, at least for me, to be like a horror novel. Because June Farrow has showed up in the 1950s or whatever, from 2023 where she grew up, you know, in current age. And she shows up and she has a husband and she has a kid, okay? And the biggest problem with this is like there are these rules for time travel, okay? So you're only able to go through the red door 3 times. And I was sitting there doing the math and I'm like, none of this adds up. And at the and it sounds like most people actually get 4, but she used 3 because 3, I don't know. Anyway, there's some like time travel shenanigans happening in this, which is why our girl June is able to cross through multiple times, because we figure out that 5 years from now, a June goes into the back door, in through the red door to 1946 or something, and then she meets Eli or whatever his name is, falls in love with him and has a kid, and then like hatches this plan to make it to where she is not, to do where the madness doesn't happen to her daughter. And there's also this other rule. There's Kara. There's Din. There's also this other rule where every Farrow basically gets to choose where they live, and like what time period they stay in. I don't think our current June got that choice. I mean, I think current June's life was screwed up by 5 years from now June. And you can say they're the same person, so she would have made that choice anyway with all of the background knowledge of 5 years from now June. But, you know, 5 years ago me is not the same as me. 10 years ago me is not the same as me. Like 5 years from now me is not the same as me now. So if 5 years ago me came and made a choice for me that I am not currently willing to make, then I don't consider me willingly choosing that choice. You know what I mean? So in my opinion, our June does not choose her destiny. Like, it is forced upon her by a different June. And it also does the one thing that I hate, which is making a woman who wants to be childless and chooses to for good reasons, and then gives her a child. Like, our June goes from, I am in my family's farm, I promise I'm going to be the last June, I'm going to promise I'm going to be the last Farrow because I don't want to pass down this madness. I am actively choosing not to fall in love with my best friend, and I am actively choosing not to have romance, and I am actively choosing not to have a kid. And then that gets taken away from her by being told, trust me, go through the door. So she goes through the door and finds herself with a husband and with the kid that she never chose, that she never wanted, and all of that. And like, it pissed me off. And then like, the atmosphere was so nice and I liked the small townness, but again, you can't, like, I don't care if I'm going back in time and finding my current husband. I'm not staying in 1951. You can't, like, I like my credit card. I like being able to have a job without my husband say so. I like having somewhat body autonomy here in Texas. Like, I'm in Texas. I don't have that much, but you know. I like being able to own my own property, and, you know, should I choose to, which isn't going to happen probably, but should, you know, a woman choose to divorce, they can. You know, in 1951, that's not gonna fucking happen. And also, like, the civil rights movement is happening or about to happen or something like that. Like, I don't want to live in 1951. So June almost being forced to accept this new life that she never fucking wanted in a society that she was not grown up in. Like, I can't. I couldn't. And then, like, and maybe we could have been reeled in with, like, the love of the daughter and the love of the husband, but we don't, like, some people might read a good love story in this. I read a bunch of reviews to figure out why people think that this is a 5-star book. I did not see the love between June and Eli. Iman. Right, it's Iman. It's some biblical name. Iman. And I was just like, this is not a love story. Like, he's controlling at best and abusive at worst. Like, he's berating her and degrading her. And I understand that this Iman has trauma with later June, other June. This is a different fucking June, you know? And I understand that that would be hard to wrap your head around, but it's a different fucking June. And he treats her exactly like the June that, like, left him for no reason after saying that she wouldn't a year ago. And then, like, and nothing is going on with the daughter. Like, if we had not focused so much on, like, the murder mystery of her dad, and instead like focused on like, okay, you're here now, let's rebuild your life and like all of that, and instead been like, here is what it's like taking care of the farm, and just been like a pastoral romance nice, then maybe I could have been persuaded. But we focused so much on this murder mystery and like what happened to her mom, and it was fun and exciting, and I really did like that part. But that part, the best part, made the justification for staying in 1951 like drive me insane, because this June did not choose this life. Some other June did. Like, it pissed me off. And like, this is one of those books where it's just like, the writing was really nice, but I didn't like the plot. So it's like one of those like, what do I rate it? So I just gave it like a 3-star because it's fine. Other people are gonna really like the story. The writing really did carry it, but I was just sitting there the entire time like, why? Like, this man doesn't love you, or if he does, he's not like a good, like, I didn't like his actions, I didn't like his tone, I didn't like his quick temperness. Like, it's all of those typical signs of a 1950s person who can't regulate their feelings and instead goes, something is happening, I'm grabbing my gun. Like, I didn't like that. And then this new situation is here. Lost my train of thought. Husband has finished making lunch and I am train of thought again. I don't like the empty screen, but here are both dogs again. All right, I remember one other thing that I did not super like about this book, and that was that it was a keep away of knowledge game. There was no reason for June not to know anything about her curse and her madness. She could have gone in knowing everything. I don't understand why everyone decided to keep it away from her when every single other person in her family knew what the curse was. And knew that the madness was that you live in 2 time periods and you can time travel slightly. I don't understand why that wasn't explained to her. Or at the very least, why we as the reader didn't get to know. Because it was very much like, we can tell you everything that you want to know, but we keep saying, like, there are so many times when June is like, please tell me a thing. And they're like, no, you're not ready to know the thing. And then she figures it out on herself. Like, we could have been told that June was the one that killed Nathaniel the moment she fucking came in to 1951, and the suspense that would have been given to us the entire time she's interacting with these people, knowing that she committed murder, but like, but she also didn't commit murder. Like, you know? And so they're just the keep away and the time period and the lack of love, like, it was a miss for me plot wise. For other people, they really liked it. Like, again, I love Adrienne Young, or however you pronounce her name. Like, her writing is really good. I enjoy it. This book just frustrated me. So that leaves us with, let me get the other book, hold on. So that leaves us with 2 Owlcrate books that we did in this catch-up vlog. Our book box books good, as meh quality. Like, this could have been a lot better, and this one frustrated me to no end because of the plot. So, and it also got me thinking when it comes to like this Dark Descent. I don't remember how much I spoiled to you, but again, this book is just fine. And personally, I kind of think, I'm starting to think at least, that saying a book is fine is one of the worst things that you can say about a book, because I don't have much to say about this Dark Descent. Like, I can speak for a long time about the Unmaking of June Farrow, and that's a good thing for a book. You know, rating a book 1 star is a good thing for a book, because some people are going to be like, wait, is it really 1 star? You know, saying a book is terrible still gets it, like, in the end of the year list for being like, oh, this is a terrible book, let's see how bad it is. Saying a book is just fine, like, the book is just fine. It's just fine. Like, I have no reasons to not read it, and I have no reasons to read it. It is just fine. And I think that is one of the worst things that you can say about a book, which is unfortunate because it's a very mid thing. Like, it's actually not a terrible thing to say that a book is fine. but it's just fine. And this one's frustrating as all hell. So that is us catching up on Owlcrate. We are at the end of March. I'm going to finish up my March books, and then I think most of April is going to be catch up. Which I said about January, but I have so many books on my little received box shelf over here that I have not read, that I'm so behind on. So I think April I'm going to focus almost entirely on catching up on those, and then once I finish catching up, I will move on to other fun things. I'm not saying that any of those books aren't fun. I've got a lot of fun books on there, but yeah, so that is the end of the video. Those are my sleepy puppy dogs. Let me know if you've read either of these books, what you thought about them, what you think about Owlcrate in general, and if you think their books are good or not. Otherwise, that's pretty much been everything. Remember, we are all in progress. Bye. You good boy.